we'll be discussing what we wish we would have been more prepared for upon leaving care, and we'll be discussing how we navigated through that. So what we found useful, what helped us, what we found challenging. So feel free to talk about anything that came up for you, money, bills, anything.
Yeah, I'd say the transition from someone giving you money, buying you things, to then you having to do it was really difficult. And then actually knowing the value of money, how much things cost, and like that money's important, that you need to keep money, you have to save money, like you need to have like a rainy day if anything happens, or like always have extra money. My problem with me, I would just go out and I would spend it, and I would buy t-shirts, I would buy makeup, and I would even give money away to people that needed it as well. And I didn't realise that I had to keep that, because then I wouldn't get money until the next time. And then like when you're in children's units, you would get like your money at the weekend. So that was like every week I knew I was getting that, to then all of a sudden I'm like on a training programme and they're paying you, or I'm then on benefits and then I get paid once every 2 weeks. So then I had to like change the way I thought about that. And I was like, oh well, I need to figure about money as in numbers, and I need to figure out money as in time, to like make sure that I get paid in that time, and then if there's anything I need or want, I need to save for it. And then it was like knowing how to save, people telling you like keep your money by, like if you see something you like, you don't need to buy that. There might be something else that you like later down the line, like you don't have to have everything you want. So it's like I would want, I'd go out and I'd see loads of t-shirts and I'd be like, I want them, and I'd buy them, and then I'd see something else and I don't have money for it. So I'd say with like maturity, when you like get older, you realise that everything you see you don't have to have. So yeah, but being taught, having support workers to actually tell you and inform you about money, and then obviously the transition from moving into your own house, it's everything like all your bills and all that you have to find out, and then what you're entitled to, like money off and exemptions and stuff. So yeah.
I think it were a really good point what you just said, Aisling. Like something that just pricked up in my brain was like when I left school, I started working and I started getting paid monthly. When I was in care, I got a weekly allowance every week, and you know I knew that money was coming in weekly. And when I started working, it was monthly, and obviously you see it as a larger sum, but you've got to spread it out over such a longer period of time, and you don't see that. When you see that money straight away in your bank, you think, oh, brilliant. And then you go and spend things. And I think a lot of it is like we're not taught how to budget. We're not taught a lot of things. But it's when you see that, it's inevitable. Like when you see a load of money, if you've not had it before, and there's loads of things that you'd really like, you want to go and treat yourself. So it's like, it's hard. Like, I think we've all been there, you know, we've all spent money where we shouldn't really have, and we should have kept it, but it's so difficult. And when it's there, it's like, it's so hard to resist temptation when it's so easy to access.
Evie, you're so right. So I went to uni and I had loads of money in my account, like lots of money. And I think the challenge is making it serve, because in the holiday period, I would notice I had no money and I literally would be scrimping to actually survive, to go back to get my next loan. So yes, it's saving. I would say try and make sure you manage your money. So don't buy things you don't need, like clothes. Limit how much you spend on clothes. Shop around for food. Like go to different supermarkets. Don't spend at one supermarket. Shop around. Find the best deals. So that would be my advice.
Another tip as well that really worked for me is writing things down, because like when you see it visually, it's right in front of your face. And when you're writing down what you're spending, where you're spending it, and you see it and you think, oh God, and you can kind of cut things back then. You can think, right, what is it that I'm going to take away? You know what's not working, so you know how to move forward in the future.
For me, I was kind of the other way around. I was in care, but I lived at home with my parents most of the time, and they were awful with money. So any little bit of money I used to get, I used to kind of squirrel away, and I'd make sure that I would have money because it was security. So like when I left care, I lived in a hostel, and I think it was income support at the time, and I wouldn't spend a penny. I'd buy food because I had to, but I'd be walking around in clothes that were just fit for the bin. I'd never buy makeup. I literally wouldn't get myself anything because I was quite used to not having anything as well. Like, I never had any clothes when I was with my parents, and I didn't spend a lot of time in foster care either, so I never got clothes when I was in foster care either. So it's quite easy for me to not have any, like, for me, even now, getting clothes is a luxury, and I'm good. As long as I've got a washing machine, I can have 2 outfits and just wash them. Like, I'm very minimal in that sense, but I found I did have to start letting myself be important enough to spend money on as well. Like, I hadn't ever been really shown that before, so I just carried on. I didn't realise that it was quite unhealthy because I was going without things that I desperately needed, but at the same time I looked at the amount of money I had in my account. It wasn't loads, but it was way more than I'd ever had before, and I'd feel safe, I'd feel secure, and it would make me feel better. But at the same time, I was, not having things that I really did need, so that was really difficult for me, learning that balance as well, to, like, yes, you want something, but the question first is, do you need it? And also the concept of saving a bit of money every month adds up to then you can get something that you want.
When I was living with my foster carers, they always used to say to me to save up my money, like my pocket money and stuff like that. And like they would try and teach me somewhat minimal for when I grew up, but I never got taught like about how to pay for bills, phone bills, stuff like that. They always taught me like if I wanted something so bad that I would have to save up for it. So if I wanted like a new pair of shoes or something, I would have to save up my monthly clothing allowance to get the pair of shoes that I want or something like that. But I think that as growing up and becoming an adult, I didn't get taught how to pay bills. I kind of just got thrown in the deep end, and they were like, here you are, you're 21 now, do it yourself. We're not here to wipe the dribble from your mouth as a baby and stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of annoyed me, the fact that they did that. And then I think I was like 21 or 22, and they said to me, oh, we've got some groups going on that help you to understand about debts, about bills, stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm 21 or 22, and you're only just now telling me about, these workshops that you can do to help you not get yourself into debt and stuff like that. And I just thought to myself, what is the actual point of them being involved at all when they don't actually bring out all these good things, at the right times? They just bring them out at the wrong times. It's frustrating, but hey ho.
Anya, what do you think would have helped you? What do you think would have made it better? Anybody else can answer. Like, what would you think, knowing what you know now, would have helped when it comes to stuff like bills and all that?
I was just thinking about what you were saying, Anya, and it brought up some things for me as well. And I think sometimes social services don't actually help you, but I wasn't actually aware that there's other people that can help you other than social services. And just taking it back to the money thing, I'm also aware that, we're talking about saving and budgeting and things like that. But also, I remember a time when I was on a really, really low income. I didn't have the money to save, that was what I was living literally paycheck to paycheck on the bare minimum with nothing. And like in hindsight, I know now that I was living way like in poverty basically, and I could have gone to charities and things like Citizens Advice, and got advice from people. And like some advice for what I would give my younger self is I waited. I think I kind of expected or really hoped someone had come along and help me and be like, give me all the answers, but no one did that. I had to really look and research and dig deep. There are services out there. If you're not getting the best support from social services, if they're not signposting the best things for you, you can go to things like Citizens Advice, use charities such as Core and Voice and things like that, and just do a bit of research and find things out for yourself.
Yeah, literally the internet is your best friend, but make sure that you're getting your information from reliable places. So if you're looking at how to spend money, how to budget, don't just be watching some kind of rando on YouTube telling you how to spend money. It has to be from like an organisation, a charity, something with like .org or .gov, stuff like that. Like when they've got websites with that ending, you know that you can trust what they're saying. But yeah, like if there are things that you are worrying about, especially to do with money, Google is your best friend. Like literally, we've got to put in is charities that help you with budgeting, charities that help you with money, and loads will come up. So don't just sit by yourself worrying a lot, because when you're in care, you don't know what you don't know. When you leave care, you know there's a lot of things you don't know, but you don't know how to deal with them. So it can be so overwhelming. There's so many things all at once hitting you, but don't just sit and let it get worse and worse. You need to be proactive and tackle things. If there's something that you're like, oh, I'm not too sure about that, go and investigate. Don't just wait till it gets really bad.
I think another thing is it can be really quite scary, and especially if there's like loads of different things going off at one time. So, and it's so easy to see it as such a big deal and just run away from it and procrastinate and do something else. And I think another bit of advice that I'd have gave my younger self is just do it a little bit at a time. You know, don't put too much pressure on yourself to get things done right away. Everything takes time, and just do a little bit when you can.
Yeah. And just to add to what Ali said, you know, as well, for me, I was on benefits for a while, and it was challenging. It wasn't enough money, but I was volunteering, and they paid for your travel when you had to volunteer, so that kind of helped out a bit. You also get lunch, you know, and all that kind of stuff, so that kind of stretched a bit. I then went to uni, and uni was a blessing because there's so many support services there. I was lucky enough to get a bursary, and so I got some money basically from a charity as well. So that helped my money to stretch. And they had a scheme going on where I could go back into schools and mentor children, and I got paid from that as well. So even the grants, you know, you see a lot of money in your account, but it's difficult. Sometimes it doesn't stretch. Like that holiday period, it's finished by then. So you have to kind of seek out what's going on. Look at your university support services, like go and speak to somebody, like what's there. Sometimes there's like social mobility programs going on, or certain things are going on that they hire students to kind of get involved in. So just check out what's on. You might be able to get some extra work, and look out for volunteering work as well, because you know you never know who you might meet, or you know you could probably get a job through that. And again, with university, you know, when you finish, you need experience. So I would say start doing as much work as possible whilst in university, and if you can't get any work, volunteer, because you never know what can happen from that.
And when the things that have helped me after I was done with high school is a lot of groups that I got involved in. Greater Manchester Youth Network that helped me move on to like the after school point, helping me choose what I want to actually get a job into, like what college course to actually start off with. Also give me an idea of going with volunteering in some places, because you know when you apply for a college course, you know that you're then going to have to wait a couple of months. Going into volunteering also gave me that get up and go feeling throughout the day, so I don't just sit at home and get bored, and then when college does come around, I can't be bothered getting up. Give me something to get up for instead of just sitting and waiting for months.
Yeah, as well at university, there's like an appointed care leaver worker as well. So they should introduce themselves when you start at uni. They'll either send you an email or give you a call. And they can actually be really helpful with helping you navigate university life, because like you can imagine, people that haven't been in care, they get dropped off by their parents, they've got all their possessions. It can be really sad for some people that aren't in care because they've never been away from home before. It's a very, very, very different experience for care leavers, and a good care leaver worker at uni will understand that, and they will help you with all sorts of things, getting your stuff to uni. I mean, your social worker, well, PA should be helping you with that anyway, moving you into uni. But yeah, there are a lot of things, a lot more safety nets, I'd say, if you're in education, and literally the sky is the limit. As long as you've got your GCSEs, or even if you go to college and get your key skills and functional skills and stuff like that, go and do a BTEC or A levels, whatever you want. One thing I would say about going to uni, the bursaries, if you are under 25 most of the time and a care leaver or estranged from your parent, you will be automatically entitled to have the care leavers bursary. It does differ greatly between different universities. Some universities you'll get £15,000 over 3 years. Some universities you'll get £3,000 over 3 years. So make sure you do check that before you apply, because trust me, it really helps, the extra money. Like Shanika was saying, to be fair, all the time I was poor, But throughout the summer, I literally had no money. Like, I'd be worrying about eating. So do be careful with your money and make sure you can get any grants and bursaries that you can possibly get your hands on.
I've not been to uni, and I don't know about the rates of care leavers, but I know in Scotland the age, I think it was 26 to get a care leavers bursary, which meant that you then didn't have to go on and get a loan or work at the same time. It was enough that you could like live off of. But I think now, I don't think there's actually an age range in that, because they understand that care experienced young people have a lot going on in their life. Round about 18, 19, when a kind of typical person would maybe go to uni from school. But I didn't really get the qualifications to go straight to uni from school. So like a next route for me would have been college and stuff like that. But I was never big on education, because until I went to college, I didn't know I had dyslexia. So I just thought everybody struggled the way I struggled and no one had ever picked up on that. Whereas I think nowadays, that's going back 10 plus years, but I think nowadays they've got a wee bit more training, they can pick that up more rather than just saying that's behaviour issues. But there's loads of like different organisations you can get involved in, and I've been involved with so many over the years. It's like volunteering. You get paid for your time and vouchers or travel or food, and then like with that they can then give you a reference for a job. They can then, like, if there's projects, they can link you up with professionals with like things that you like, and there's so many. But it goes with like your area. I would check out your area and see like what's round about you, what organisations you like the sound of, and if you like the sound of like everything they support and want to do, then it might be worth looking into if you can volunteer with them, or even get like nowadays people are doing like paid internships, like they're paying young people for their time. If not, they're creating like it's like work experience where they're getting some sort of, whether it be vouchers or money for doing it. I think nowadays people don't want young people to give so much effort, time and commitment for nothing.
That's great, Ashley. And I would say as well, I know in London there's charities such as like Dry Food and other charities as well that actually give young people opportunities to work with in really good jobs. You don't have to have a degree for some of those jobs as well. I know the government is doing a lot of like internships as well. So it's to find these charities. So sometimes you can speak to your job center. They should have the information as well. For me as well, I had to use those charities because even though I studied and had a degree, I still had to go to the charity to get help to get a job. So it's very important to look at what charities are out there. And I would say as well, if you're in school, please make sure, if you want to carry on and go to uni, make sure you get your maths and English at GCSE. Yeah. Try your hardest to get that, because you don't want to get to like finish your secondary and then you realize you have to do it over again. It's just a waste of time. So try your hardest to get those two. I learned that. Yeah.
Also, when you're applying for university, there's a little box that you can tick and it asks you for care experience. A lot of people that have care experience don't tick this box, but please do tick the box, because it lets the university know that you're a care leaver. You do have to prove it. You just get a letter from your PA or social worker, and then you are automatically entered into the bursaries, any kind of like hardship funds and care leavers bursaries, anything like that, and it really does help. Also, I wanted to say as well, when it comes to getting bills for your house, like, you know, the water, gas, electric, TV, internet, stuff like that, you can go online and look at like money saving experts, stuff like that, and there are search engines where you put what you need in, like electricity, and they will find the cheapest one for you, and that's really, really helpful. Just because you move into a house and you've got electricity with EDF or something, it doesn't mean you have to stay with them. You can change. So make sure that you're looking around, shopping around, finding the best deals for you, saving money wherever you can. One of the good things about university though is if you do go into student accommodation, you don't usually have to worry about bills because it's included in your rent. So that is one good thing about it.
It's like when it comes to like support, and is there anything else that you guys felt that was really helpful?
So for me, the support, I didn't have much support from my local authority. So like social services, social workers, personal advisors, I was just kind of left. And I knew in my own head that that wasn't right. And I had a feeling that it wasn't right anyway. And then I did a bit of research, turned out that my gut instinct was right. And so I got in touch with an advocate, which I never even knew what an advocate was. And basically an advocate is there to listen to you and to get your voice heard. heard. Because for me, I was really trying my hardest to get my local authority to listen to me and just acknowledge that I was even there. And an advocate can really help you get to them places. And it might not even just be with social services. It can be in loads of different sectors that an advocate can help you. And another thing that I just wanted to mention is I got in touch with a charity called Core and Voice, and they appointed me like an advocate through a safety net. And then basically through that, they then appointed me a local advocate in my local area. However, that advocate in my local area was a government funded advocate. So the advice that, well, her involvement with me was quite biased, and I wasn't happy with the support she was giving me. And so I ended up then going back to the charity and carrying on using their own service. And I think that that's really important to know who's giving you your support, and also if you're not happy with a service, to say it, and to, you know, make sure that you're getting the best support that's suited to you. And if you just Google advocacy services, loads and loads and loads will come up, and 9 times out of 10 it's free. So my advice would be go and use an advocate, because they can really help you get places that on your own you might not be able to get to.
Yeah, I used Become. There's a general advice line, and then they've got further education and higher education advisor as well, which can be really, really helpful. But I was having trouble with my setting up home grant. Social services weren't releasing it to me for various reasons. So I spoke to their advice person, who was a trained social worker, however wasn't a social worker. She just would do the advice line, but she knew exactly all the laws, all the rules, all the policy, and literally just her sending an email summing up what I wanted and questioning them on why I wasn't getting it. I had the money within a week, and I'd been fighting them for about a year. So it really does help. Even having someone that's from a charity, it carries gravity. So just them being involved, you can find sometimes that they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll do it. I'm sorry. And you don't usually get that when it's just you. It's like shouting into a pillow. Like, no one can hear what you're saying. No one wants to hear. So yeah, advocacy, I agree with Evie. It's so important. And finding out where you can get that from as well. Like the Citizens Advice Bureau, they won't necessarily advocate for you, but they will give you advice, and they can signpost you to different places that you could go for an advocate, for specialist help. So that's definite. Like, if you're struggling, find someone that can speak not for you but on your behalf.
Another thing, sorry, that I just really wanted to add was that even though advocates might be aware of all the laws and everything like that, they're not actual legal representatives.
Yeah,
but they can get you in touch with the legal representatives, and they can get you in touch with the solicitors. And it can be really, really hard if, you know, you're a young person and you know that something's not right, and you know that someone's breaking the law, but you don't know how to prove it, or even know what kind of solicitor to ask for. It can be such a minefield, and advocacy can really just help you get to where you want to be in whatever aspect that may be. And we'll link them down below as well.
I just want to go back and touch briefly what Alice said about ticking the care experience box. I was still in care and applied for college and didn't tick that because I thought it would go against me at the time. And the difference between ticking it, because I didn't get in that course, I'd went and had an interview, didn't get in, I was like shortlisted, and they invited me to go on a different course, which was something that I didn't feel was relevant to me at the time. I didn't want to do that course. But the difference in ticking it is you actually get, I'm only speaking for Scotland here, I know it's different for different areas, but in Scotland, like, if you tick you're a care leaver, like, they send you an email and like ask you, like, do you need help to like help for you to apply to the course, and then you can go in and like you can speak to them. And then once you've ticked that, the learning department or the guidance team, I know it's not called all different in colleges, but they check in with you, and then they're like, oh, is there anything you struggle with? And then like that's at the point when I had said, like, I think I may have dyslexia, and they found that out. But they can help you with so much, like not just that, but everything. But it's really important to know that that box doesn't go against you. It actually helps you, because they want you to get in. They really want you to get in. So they're going to help you to try and help you to get into their college. And there's so much, like, just like you said, really extra grants and stuff like that, but it's discretionary at the colleges. But just how important that box is, because when I applied the first time, I didn't tick it, compared to the second time, it was completely different.
Thank you, Ash. In terms of independence and leaving social services, I wanted to ask, like, how did everybody find that? For me, I was happy because I was surfing before I got my house, but I had issues in the house that I moved into. So like I had loads of damp. I even got burgled. And I found that my local MP was very helpful in a lot of things. She got like the dam. She kind of helped force the council to actually get the dam remedied, even though it didn't really solve the issue, but she helped a lot. So I wanted to hear you guys' experiences on that and any tips or advice that you have that can give anyone when they're moving out.
So I was quite similar to you about like the sofa surfing, and then I got my own place. But before I got my own place, I was really, really struggling to secure a tenancy. I'd never had a tenancy before, and I was on benefits, and it was like, if I was looking to go private, it was like, no one was taking me. So I ended up getting in touch with a charity once again called Crisis, and that's like a housing charity, and it's for people that are either homeless or at risk of homelessness. And they did a course actually called Renting Ready to get you ready for renting, and it includes all about managing money, your bills and everything like that. And it also tells you about the different types of tenancies there are out there, because these are all things that we don't get taught. And that really, really set me up well. But from that, because I completed that course, I was also able to, they allowed me to access their services, which was a support worker who would help me apply for housing associations, help me bid in, making sure that I was applying for everything that I could apply for to get me into accommodation as soon as possible. And I mean, he really did go above and beyond. Obviously, it's each individual that you get, but 9 times out of 10, if you're working with a charity, they're going to be really nice people.
Yeah.
And they just went above and beyond for me. I never had heard about a housing association before, and it's different to a council house, but it's quite similar. It's a lot more secure than being in a private rented accommodation. So like with you having your issues, Shanika, about your mould and things like that, I've had mould, but whereas I've been able to just ring up my landlord and say, I've got mould, you need to come and sort it out, and that's that. And like whenever I have an issue, like my flush stopped working, I'm no plumber, I don't know how to fix it. So I rang them up, I was like, look, I can't flush my toilet, and then they come and fixed it for me. And like it's things like that you're a lot more secure, you know, in one of them tenancies. And it's like, if I wasn't to have worked with that charity, I wouldn't have had a clue that these tenancies exist, what different types are. And so I just really, really want to push everyone to work with different charities and not to feel ashamed or embarrassed or anything like that. Like just go for it, because it will help you.
Yeah, also as well, with local authority housing, it used to be called council housing. It's different now. It's called local authority housing. But if you're a care leaver, they have banding. So if you apply for housing, local authority housing, they have like a band 1, 2, 3 or 4. Sometimes it's like gold, silver and bronze. Each local authority is different. But usually, if you're a care leaver, it gives you top status. So you'll be put at the top of the list to get a house. This usually is if they have different ages for different local authorities, but some places are like 25, some places don't have a limit, some places are 21, 22. So literally as soon as you turn 18, it is well worth making an application to your local authority to get housing, because like Evie said, it's so much more secure. You're given, basically it's a forever tenancy. Usually it's not like a 1-year tenancy, 6-month tenancy. You literally have a place to live for life as long as you pay your rent, and like council tax as well, unless you're exempt if you're a care leaver. Look up that as well. Get in touch with your local council, tell them that you're a care leaver. Are there any exemptions for me, because it does differ per local authority. But yeah, all you need to do is get a letter from your PA, prove that you're a care leaver, and then you won't have to pay council tax instead. So definitely, because I didn't know about that either, and I'm 27 years old and I'm still struggling to get somewhere to live. If I'd have known that I was entitled to local authority housing at 18, I would have definitely got one. But literally 10 years later, and I'm having some serious issues because I just thought, oh well, I need somewhere to live. I can't get anywhere because I didn't have a job because I was in education and I was on benefits, and no private landlord would accept me. So I just thought, I'm going to go to uni and I'll live in student housing. That was my way out, but I didn't realise I could have had somewhere to live. But yeah, definitely do that.
Well, I guess the good things of staying at home is that the bills aren't as big as they would be, but it's more like, I do sometimes get that feeling like I do need to get out at some point because I'm still living with my brothers and I want to get out of here.
Yeah, me too.
That just made me think quickly, like a lot of the time it can be really difficult to access what we're saying, like, oh, there's this, there's this. It can be really difficult to access it, like, you know, your priority banding and grants and things like that. And this is something that advocates really, really can help you gain access to. And they might give you whatever reason, no, you're not entitled to it because X, Y, and Z, because of this law, that law. But trust me, don't just take their word for it. Really do your own research. Don't just take no as the answer. Fight for what you need, you know, and really do that bit of research. Yeah,
can I just say, like, in Scotland, we called it priority. So if you were a care leaver, you got like the maximum points, but it's like a one-time deal. After that, you'd never get it again. But it's different everywhere, but you're allowed twice to say no. So see, once they come and offer you a house, it's like you can say like, I actually don't like that, or do you know what, I don't actually like that area. Like you can say no, I think twice, but I would double check with your area. But like once you get that, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't go back again because it's going to be harder. Do you know what I mean? But it's really good, like the priority. But I actually had like a meeting with a housing woman who actually told me all about a house, and it was like one of the like social work meetings where they invite somebody new in and they add them in and they tell you why. So yeah, it was really good because like she said about if there's any repairs or anything like that, or if it's an emergency or a non-emergency repair. So like, that helped me then going into my house, because I knew she gave me like tips and tricks, like if you like an area, like at this time at this day they change it. So I think it was a Tuesday, and then it's like a fresh list of houses going. So it's like try to like get the tips and tricks. So yeah, like listen to the information and try and get as much as you can, because it's all about being savvy. It's about being smart and picking good choices, because you don't want to pick a house and then move a year later. You want to pick a house and then move 5-10 years later.
And I'm just going to quickly add, for me, because I went to uni and I had a council house, I had to stay near to my uni. I didn't want to be paying money to be traveling far. So there's also that to consider as well. If you have a council house, you can't probably necessarily move into student accommodation. So you have to stay at home. We're going to round off now, and I'm going to ask everybody what's a top tip that you'll give to your younger self in preparing for independence and leaving care.
I would say research, look for charities, look for anything, get as much help as you can possibly get, don't push it away. If you don't have a good relationship with social services, I understand, because I didn't have a great one either. These charities and support services that aren't to do with social services, they're different. There's a different feel to them. They're doing that job because they care, and they know that there's gaps you can fall through if you're just left to social services help. So make sure, like I wish I could have looked up charities, made sure I got all the funding I could have possibly got. I wish I'd known that I was entitled to a council house, because also you can swap your council house once you've lived there for a long time. But yeah, if I could tell myself, I would just say, like, don't just struggle on your own. Look for opportunities and ways of bettering yourself. Don't just struggle along on your own, because no one could do anything completely on their own. We all need help, no matter where you come from, whether you're care experienced or not.
So I'm same as you, Alice. Just research. And I'd say trust your instinct as well. And also that you are the person that's going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. So you need to learn to like yourself, and you need to learn to make a happy life for yourself as well. So like nothing's just going to be handed to you on a plate. You need to really go for things. And I'd just say, like, be there for yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
I would say trust your instincts, because I bring it back to the house where I move into. I was so excited for that house. I didn't look at the area properly. It was a very dangerous area, and I didn't even see the mold. I was just so excited for the house. So trust your instinct. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If it's a house, just don't do it. And things do go wrong, but remember, there's always places there to help. You know, just use the internet wherever you have to go. Just research. There's always help out there.
What I would tell my younger self about preparing for adulthood and independence is be patient. Just because you can get a house at 16 doesn't mean that I should get a house at 16 because I didn't. I was like in like a social work leaving care flat. You had to prove you could keep it tidy, cook, clean, do it all. So like if you're ever in the same position where you have to prove, use that time, like prepare, research, like, and it, do you know, at the end of the day, knowledge is power. Do you know what I mean? Just because you're at the certain age that you can get a house, there's a lot more to it. And just like you said, Shanika, I was really excited and loads of things were wrong with my first house. Do you know what I mean? Until I got like kind of like my forever home, I like to call it, because I'll probably be in this for a long, long time. So yeah, be patient and your time will come.
One thing I'd probably tell my younger self is that to do your own research, find people that are going to actually want to help you properly. I don't know, just always put yourself first and always be you and don't always wait on other people.
I guess if I could actually tell my younger self something, it would be to not overthink stuff, such as, say, just because they say it is better to save money doesn't mean don't spend any. Otherwise, you might end up getting to a point where you literally cannot spend anything, as I was in that phase. I kind of still am now. A lot of times when I go to any shop, even if it's for stuff I need, I end up going to till going, do I really need this? And when it comes to, say, starting a college course or starting a job somewhere, don't like expect to be at the main part of it straight away. Some things do need a bit of a work up to point, so don't just give up on the job or the task just because you're not where you want to be straight away.
Thank you, everybody. And that's it. We're completed.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Conflict.
We'd love to hear from you, so if you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us on Let's Talk Conflict at leapcc.org.uk or find us on Twitter and Instagram at leap_cc.
This podcast has been produced in partnership with Leap Confronting Conflict and edited by Helena Webb.
Let's Talk Conflict has been supported by the Esme Fairburn Foundation, the Kurt and Magda Stern Foundation, the Treebeard Trust and the Rain Foundation.